Welcome to another episode of Community Association Car Chat with David and Steve. We're here with our guest today talking about community association. What about it? Well, everybody's got a nugget of knowledge, something to bring to the table, something to bring to the car, and that's what we'll be discussing today. Steve, why don't you introduce our guest?
Thanks for the introduction. My name is Steve Roderick from JGS Insurance, and today we've got a very special guest, the distinguished Stephen McConoughey, who is the Executive Director of the Chesapeake Region Chapter of CAI. Stephen, why don't you tell us a little bit about your chapter and what you guys do down there?
Thanks, guys. I have to say, I think that's the first time I've ever heard distinguished in an introduction, so I appreciate that. So the Chesapeake Region Chapter, we cover a very large geographical area. So we cover all the way from the western border of Maryland and the northern, all the way across the northern end of Maryland, all the way to the eastern shore of Delaware. So we kind of cover the lower half or lower 2/3 of Delaware. Our chapter holds probably about 15 to 17 educational events throughout the year. A lot of those are breakfast seminars or webinars. We have 5 of those each year. We bring together a lot of different groups, managers, business partners, and discuss some of the major topics that are going on within community associations. And then in addition to that, we also have a series that's more focused on homeowners. Our breakfast seminars and webinars sometimes are a little more focused for managers. And then our homeowner webinars and seminars are focused a little bit more for board members or people who might be interested in becoming a board member. And then in addition to those series, we have our annual expo, our annual golf outing, and then we typically do a social event as well at the end of the year.
Well, I'm glad that you brought up the expo. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions on that in just a moment. But I want to know a little bit more about you. So you're a newer member to the CAI world. You were recently selected as the Executive Director of Chesapeake. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, where you come from, and what got you involved in CAI?
Sure. So my background is actually a little bit more on the science end of things. So I did my graduate work in neuroscience, but what I actually then moved on from there, since grad school, I've been in the nonprofit sector. So I've actually been in the nonprofit sector for the past 10 years. And I've had experience running other membership-based organizations, the Ohio Academy of Science, which is a very similar organizational structure. And then as I moved to Maryland, I actually moved into an HOA and very quickly realized all of the issues and the complications and just the overall content that is really needed to run an association. So it very quickly became something I was interested in.
Other than living in an HOA, why do you find that community association work is a good fit for you? Why is this something that you're interested in?
So I really enjoy it. I think a lot of it is you're dealing with so many different groups of people. I think that I really enjoy being able to work with different people from different backgrounds who are doing different things, maybe having different incentives for what they're doing and trying to find that commonality of building those bridges and making sure that what we're doing is benefiting all of our members, whether they're a business partner, whether they're a manager, or they're a homeowner.
How did the whole COVID situation impacted your chapter, your membership, your events? Tell us a little bit about it.
Big thing for us was making sure that we're still providing a service to our members, and that the number one service is education for our homeowners. So trying to find new ways to get that information to them, to move our events. So we had never done a webinar before 2020. So then all of a sudden it was kind of pushed on us as far as being able to, or having to do a webinar for our educational sessions. And so, we had a couple bumps. We changed our platforms. We finally ended on Zoom. We started as actual webinars where the speakers were talking and everybody else was just kind of listening. And we heard the feedback that people didn't enjoy that because it didn't feel personal. It felt very cold and they wanted that collaborative kind of feeling. So we listened to that feedback and kind of adjusted as we went. Because we cover such a large area, this actually helps us to reach more people. So it was a lot of change throughout 2020, but I think by the end of the year, we had kind of got our rhythm.
In the Chesapeake region, why would I choose CAI as a manager or a homeowner leader or a business partner? Why would I go to you guys for the education and the networking? What do you guys do that's different?
So I think one thing that we do really well, and I kind of touched on this, but I think it's we bring a lot of different groups together. So we're not, so I live in Montgomery County, and we have to go through training to be on a board for an association. But they bring you in, and it's somebody from the county who kind of teaches it, and then you take a little test and you're done. What I like with CAI is we bring all of the groups together. So the homeowners can not only learn from other homeowners, but they can interact with managers, they can interact with business partners if they need specific services within their community. Same with the managers. They're able to form relationships and build networks with business partners who they might use frequently within their communities. And then they also get to meet homeowners who are interested in management companies. And then, for business partners, it just makes sense because you're there for, managers who you'll be working with, and then also community leaders as well.
In your opinion, what is the key to success in the multifamily world for a property manager?
I'm going to keep saying education, because I think property managers have a very difficult time of the homeowners having a level of expectation that they may or may not communicate. That could probably force the manager to feel like they have to do everything, when really it's just identifying who best to kind of bring in to know what their role is versus trying to be a master of everything.
And in your opinion, what is the key to success for a business partner?
If you can build your network, have your work kind of speak for itself, it'll open a lot of doors for you in your business.
What advice would you give to a homeowner leader or board member who's just come into the chapter in order to get the most out of the chapter?
There's a really good program called the Board Leadership Development Workshop, and it's a long program. So in person, it would run 8 hours. We break it up over 2 webinars, but it really kind of gives you all of the basics. And then I think also really take inventory of your community. Like, where might you be struggling? Find different areas and find different webinars or seminars that address those topics.
What's your biggest frustration with multifamily living?
I think a lot of times it's just communication. By working across a lot of different groups of people, you really have to be aware and empathetic of where people are coming from.
So Stephen, on a little more personal note, why don't you tell us a little something about yourself that people may not know or be surprised by?
I grew up on a farm, so like anything to get outside. Really enjoy golfing, running.
30 seconds or less. Do you have any crazy story about multifamily living?
The number of times that you'll have a complete change of board with like no board members remaining and just like a completely new board coming in. Because I would think of this as, again, if you're running an organization and all of your upper management goes out and new upper management comes in, just the kind of chaos that can cause.
Stephen, do you have a pen and paper with you?
Uh-oh.
If community association was an emoji, what it would look like?
All right, so it's the party emoji, because it's got the party hat on. People have just outstanding attitudes as far as getting involved, helping to educate people, networking. So it makes it a lot of fun.
So now is a part of the show. We do some rapid fire questions. What is your least favorite pizza topping?
I'll go anchovies.
Oh, come on.
Who was a better Batman, Adam West or Michael Keaton?
I grew up with Michael Keaton, so I'm probably going to go with Michael Keaton.
What state has the worst drivers? Be careful.
I might have to go with my state of Ohio.
Can you throw a spiral with a football?
No, I am I can catch. I'm really good at catching a football. Throwing a baseball, I cannot throw a football for the life of me.
Last question. Say something, anything with an Australian accent.
G'day, mate.
Knew it. All right.
Good one.
And now, Stephen, this is the part of the show where we give you 20 seconds to plug something.
I'll just plug getting involved. And it doesn't have to necessarily be with CAI. We encourage anybody to get involved, but just find something you're passionate about, something you like spending your time doing, and get involved. I know with COVID, it sometimes is a little bit harder now than it used to be, but there's still a lot of great organizations out there that are running either remote programs or need remote volunteers. So, please keep CAI in mind, but if it's not with CAI, I would encourage people to find something you're passionate about and get involved.
Cool, very cool. Well, thank you very much for your time, Stephen and me. We appreciate sharing this episode with our audience, and we hope that you have a good rest of your Monday and a good rest of your week. See you next time.